Good morning and welcome back to Singapore. It is day 6 of the Toyota World Para Swimming Championship Singapore 2025. The penultimate day of competition here in this wonderful venue in the city of Singapore. Part of the Singaporean 60th anniversary celebrations. These Toyota World Para Swimming Championships have been absolutely superb. First 5 days of competition gone. We are now in day 6 of the 7 days here at the OCBC Aquatic Centre. My name's Paul Noble. I'll be taking you through the action as always. And right next to me this morning, as ever, Liz Johnson.
Good morning, Paul. You did make it sound like it was going to be somebody different then.
Well, I'm not disappointed that it's you.
Oh, thank
again.
you. Thank you. I'm still recovering from yesterday. It was so
night,
exciting. Yep.
And we're just getting getting the crowd warmed up here in the venue. Again, last night was absolutely superb. We didn't get as many world records as we had in the first few days of competition, but some of the contests that we saw in the pool last night were absolutely incredible, weren't they?
Yeah, the margins of victory or margins to get on the podium were probably some of the tightest we've seen in recent years across almost the entire session. And you never quite knew who was going to win.
And you know, there's Paralympic champions, world champions returning, but you know, some of the Paralympic champions didn't even make it on the podium last night.
Yeah, we had Paralympic champions qualifying for finals out in lane 1, lane 8, sneaking in. So it was one of those evenings where you had to have your eyes everywhere across the pool. And there were some surprise champions, some new champions, and as you said, some surprise lockouts on the podium too. So it really did deliver everything last night. Now we're not on a dance cam, we're just warming everybody up, I think.
It's like the Singaporean. It's a big day actually for Singapore. Big morning. They've got 3 swimmers. I think we've got a fairly small team, the Singaporean team. We've got 3 swimmers though taking part in the heats this morning, hoping to make it through to those finals. Yip Pinju, well, she's going to go in again, her 2nd event of the week, and she'll start as one of the favourites for the medal. The only Singaporean medal so far this week went to Yip, the silver medal a couple of days ago, and she'll be hoping to go one better tonight.
Yeah, it feels like we've been waiting for a long time for Yip to get back in the water, but it's going to be big. Again, the swimmers have got a chance of making the final, and like you said, making the podium, and Yip will want... She took the silver medal while she swam well, but she would love to take a gold here at Home Championships.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful if she can do that. I'll expect Yip there, right at the bottom of your picture as we see it. 9:55, the Singaporean champion will take to the start. Here's what we're expecting today. We start off with some 400s, 200 IMs to go on to the 50 events in the middle of the session. Toh Wee Song will go in the men's 50 freestyle S7, so we'll watch out for him, the local champion here, the Asian champion actually, from Singapore. And as we go through the morning towards 11 o'clock local time and beyond, we've got the 100 backstrokes. That'll be exciting, the 100 freestyle for women and men in the S10 classifications. The SB6 events are on today, Liz. That was your specialist event back in the day.
Yeah, it's been a long wait, but it's finally here. The women's event is direct to final, so we'll be there. We'll be finishing with the one heat of the men's SB 600 meters breaststroke. Well, as you said, we're starting at the other end of the program with the distance event. There was the women's 400 meter freestyle S13.
Carlotta Giri goes in the centre lane for Italy. 2 Spanish swimmers either side of her in the women's 400 freestyle S13 heat 1. So just waiting for the swimmers to make their entrance into the poolside. They'll come through that little gate. We went for a little visit last night, didn't we, down towards that gate? It's the first time we've been down on pool deck.
We did. We walked through that very archway. That was as far as it got, though. We didn't.
Didn't get in the water. Although there was a media race yesterday, people weren't invited,
I know.
were we?
How rude.
Exactly. We're up in the high part of the stands here, out of everyone's way. Here's the swimmers for this first heat. Taylor Cable from Norway. I'll go right at the top of the picture there in lane number 2. Ariadna Beltran will go for Spain in lane number 3. Carlota Gili, the world champion from the World Championships last time out in 2023. She goes in lane number 4. Emma Filou Martin from Spain goes in lane number 5. And Alani Ferreira, the South African, will go in lane number 6. We've got 5 swimmers in this first heat. We've got 6 swimmers in the second. And as always, we will whittle them down to the fastest 8 who will take part in that final tonight. So this is 2 heats. Some of these events we'll see just 1 heat. If the entries are 9 or 10 swimmers, we'll just swim 1 heat and make them down to the top 8. As they go through that first 50, Emma Filou Martin just ahead of Carlota Gili, 32.34, 32.52 and 33.34 respectively. Gili's got a great record over the years, Liz. She's not really been on top form this week. She had a great Paralympic Games, of course, 2 gold medals last year in Paris. And again, another example of one of these swimmers coming to these World Championships and just kind of get back into the way of the major internationals. But the Spanish swimmers have been really good by contrast. They've been improving their times almost every time they've hit the water.
Yeah, we've seen a range of performances. Gili always has a very big program, and she hasn't. So we've seen some athletes come here to these World Championships post Paralympics and sort of really shrink down their program. Gili hasn't done that. She's still entered everything. She's still swum some solid performances, picked up medals along the way. She hasn't yet won a gold, which is what we're used to her doing. But I think she's just met some very in-form swimmers while she's sort of working her way back through season 1 of a 4-year cycle. So we've talked a lot about how different athletes have come into this meet in Singapore in very different places with very different goals. And it's a testament to how good she is that she can have what we deem to be a bad week and still deliver medals for Italy. She's looking good here. Again, it's a heat. She's got a centre lane. They don't need to drop too many athletes. So for Gili today, it'll be about getting through solidly into the final tonight, because as we've said, she's met some very in-zone swimmers, and Paralympic champion Chambers of the United States, who goes in the second heat, is flying this week. So Gili, if she wants to win that gold medal, she knows that there will be a battle tonight. But she goes through the 200-metre mark, 2:22.41, ahead of Ido Beltran, who, like you say, is having an excellent week. The Spaniards have really stepped up. 2:24 flat, and then Ferreira 2:25.63.
Yeah, Ferreira in that close contest with Filou Martin, the second Spanish swimmer in lane number 5 at Carlota Gili. It's coming now to the 2:50 mark with a clear advantage. 2:59.52, Ido Beltran 3:01.08. Ferreira still in third, 3:03.35, 3:04.43 for Filou Martin. But Gili, great record over the years in this visually impaired class. It's the S13 classification, of course. 14 gold medals in the 4 World Championships that Carlota Gili has swum since her debut in 2017. So, you know, a really good record, the Italian. And we'll see a range of classifications, of course, 1 to 10, those classes with physical impairments. S14 with those for intellectual impairments, but 11 to 13 are the visually impaired athletes. 11 have no vision at all, but 12 and 13s have partial vision.
Yeah, the S13 is the highest classification group for those athletes with a visual impairment. And again, it can be their distance vision that is affected or their field vision. So some of them don't actually ever see their competitors because they're to the side of them and it's swimming more of a time trial. In this classification group, it is the least impaired, as I said, of those visually impaired groups. they can have a visual field of no more than 20 degrees. And sometimes the maximum is that they would be able to see at 6 meters what we, or someone with typical vision, can see at 60 meters. So if you think about that, that's quite a significant sight loss. But Julie is looking good here as she comes through into the final 25 meters. It's been a fairly easy paddle for her at the front of the field here.
Yeah, she's going to hold on to this one. Eda Beltran just making sure, think of that second position. Julie, vastly experienced, as we said. You know what? She'll had a plan coming into that race, and 4:50.49 for the Italian. Eda Beltran, 4:52.74 for Lou Martin. A little bit of a sprint at the end to take her past the South African. 4:53.68 for Lou Martin. And a good swim from Alani Ferreira, 4:54.47, and that is inside her own African record, so well done to the South African. And Taylor Kebu, final swimmer to finish, the 20-year-old from Norway. She'll come in entry time 5:35.90. She's not going to be a million miles away from that. In fact, she's well inside, 5:29.42 for the Norwegian. So 6 in the second heat, Liz. Julie and Eda Beltran will be guaranteed a place in that top 8. And you've got to think Lou Martin and Ferreira will be in there as well with decent times. Well, we're just having a look at our system here. Well, there is a disqualification shown on the system, and it's a swimmer we see in our picture there, Carlotta Gili. I didn't notice anything, Liz.
No,
it can only really be the start, was it? Did she get caught in the start?
You say that. The officials have told us many times.
Well, they have, yeah. We've talked about this earlier.
But I'm sure that will come to light later on.
Well, Carlotta Gili disqualified in the 400 freestyle. Well, that's interesting one there for Carlotta Gili, but Ariana Eda Beltran and Emma Filou Martin will be top 2. Lana Ferreri, African record, in 3rd place in that heat. So, drama continues. Heat number 2 is on their way. Another South African in this one, that's Danica Vanka going up there in lane number 2. In lane number 3, we have Grace Neufert. Grace Neufert, fantastic swim that she had to win the gold in the 100 meters butterfly. Way back, I think it was day 1 of competition. Grace Neufert, seems like a long time ago when she won that butterfly gold. Olivia Chambers, well, she has been the in-form swimmer, picking up 2 titles this week. World Championship, silver medalist, Paralympic Games, gold medalist was Olivia Chambers. Roisin Nirian from Ireland, lying in 2nd place as they stand. She goes in lane number 5. Again, she's picked a couple of silvers and a bronze medal this week, the Irish swimmer. Sablatseva, neutral para athlete, goes in lane number 6, and Zhang from China, the 16-year-old, goes in lane number 7.
Well, as you said, Paul, Chambers is probably the in-form swimmer at these championships in this classification group, and arguably this is her favoured event. She's been saying she doesn't really consider herself to be a sprinter, but she's picked up a few medals along the way and she's performed very well. She looks strong here as they go through the 125-meter mark. She turned in 1:05 flat. She already had just over a 3.5-second lead over Nguyen of Ireland. But as we said, similar, it's exactly the same for the first heat. They just need to progress in the 8 fastest times through to that final. And if you are in those centre lanes, you do have that luxury of knowing you've got sort of the buffer. You can go a bit easier. Some of these athletes, Chambers being one of them, had a pretty extensive program here this week. We are now on day 6. So it's about managing those energy levels and saving it for when you're stood behind the block and the medals are up for grabs. And Chambers looks good. She's the only person in the shot at the moment. It's all quite tight behind her. Ziblazetsa going well, the neutral para-athlete. She's right there with Nireen, who is swimming for Ireland, who had an excellent night last night when Dervla Rady picked up a surprise for her bronze medal, I think, from one of the outside lanes. But it's buoyed the team. I think we were talking to them earlier, and sort of day 6, everybody needs their energy levels lifting, don't they? And so Nurian will want to continue to add to that medal count.
Yes, 3 medals for the Irish swimmer already, and 3 medals for Chambers as well in these individual events. She's a bronze medalist in the 50 freestyle. She won the 100 freestyle. So she's looking to try and make it 3 medals out of 3 in the freestyle event. She also had a good swim in the breaststroke when she finished ahead of Roisin Nirian to take the golds. And she is coming down now to the 300 mark. Chambers, clear advantage over the rest of the field. It's around about 8 seconds to the second place swimmer, Roisin Nirian. Let's see what the gap is now. Chambers goes over 327.95. Narian will be in 336. So 8.1 seconds. So the gap is increasing. Chambers in first, Narian in second. Grace Newfer coming through into third now. She's moved up 337.61, but it is very tight. So there's maybe 3 swimmers contesting for the second position as Chambers comes up to that final turn there. She goes over in 403.99, and I think these top 4 are going to be guaranteed a place in that top 8.
Yeah, Newford definitely upped the pace on that last 50 to bring her into the 300-meter mark. She's gone to her feet. We're with Chambers, who has led from start to finish and is looking very comfortable indeed. Nureen and Newfer in a bit of a battle for that second position. Doesn't really matter too much unless they want position, but at the front of the field it'll be Chambers coming in to stop the clock.
And she comes in 4:38.87. That's a pretty decent time. It's her fastest time of the year. Great swim from Chambers. She wins it by a long way from Nureen, who just holds off the challenge from Grace Newfer in the closing stages. So 4:38 for Chambers, 4:48.48 for Narian, and Grace Newfer 4:49.63. So final swimmer's just coming in. Seva should be good enough to make it into that final. Danica Vanka might be in there as well, possibly. We'll just have to wait for the official results to be done. Final swimmer to come in now is Zhang, the youngster from China, the 16-year-olds. She will complete the distance. She had the entry time of 5:42. So Chinese swimmer just about to finish. Les, but a good performance there from Olivia Chambers. She was fastest time of the year, and it looked pretty relaxed, didn't it?
Yeah, she looked comfortable, but she's a swimmer who is swimming with confidence, and it's difficult, especially if that result stands with Julie's disqualification. It's difficult to see anybody challenging Chambers.
Yeah, there's some great shots we're getting here from our technical team here in Singapore. Underwater shots, we're loving to have them. Some great shots from high up as well. We've got the cameraman right on the diving board. We can see it almost at our level. But some great shots right down the pool. Chambers was looking very relaxed indeed. Her fastest time of the year. And if you are swimming relaxed, swimming with confidence, it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Olivia Chambers takes that second heat, 4:38.87. Roisin Narian in second, Grace Newfer in third. We'll hopefully get the summary to see these finalists. I think the 2 South Africans might just make it in because of that disqualification there. I'm not sure we're going to get that summary, but I think from our system, 2 South Africans will be in. Chambers will be there. Narian, Newfer, 2 Spanish swimmers, Seva, and the 2 South Africans will be the top 8. Next event is, again, 400 freestyle S13. But we do have some S12 swimmers taking part in this one. So they'll be swimming up against the S13s. As we said, it's just for the one set of medals. Don't have an S12 and S13 separate medals. So they'll go against each other. And in this event, in the past list, we have seen the S12s take medals against the S13s in the 400s.
Yeah, we have. And, well, there we've seen lots of T-shirts. This next event, we do have two French swimmers. The French are always great supporters. They don't have T-shirts, but they do have sparkly hats that we will catch a glimpse of over the course of the morning, I think. And as you were saying, Paul, the S12s that swim up sometimes do medal. And an example of that is Kilian Portal, who goes in lane number 4 of this first heat. He got the bronze medal in Paris.
Yeah, alongside his brother, who took the silver. Alex Portal due to go in the next heat, heat number 2. Kilian Portal is in this one. There he is, the man who won the S12 100 meters freestyle yesterday and the 100 butterfly. Line up for this one. Shamil Shahov from Qatar goes in 1. Evgeny Lozatin goes in lane number 2. Kilian Portal, great form, swimmer from France in lane number 4. Igor Shiptovsky in 5, a 17-year-old who has again been a winner in the S13 class in the 100 free and the 100 fly. Jinky Salto from Japan in 6, and the home swimmer Wong Chi-wei, closest to us from Singapore. And some great support from the crowd right opposite us, so it's been superb for the home swimmers this week, hasn't it?
It has, and the noise has definitely gone up in this aquatic centre. The sticks are being banged, the cardboard cutouts are being waved, and Wong will enjoy swimming in front of this home crowd.
He's on the opposite side to the crowd, that's a shame, isn't it? To Wei Sung was on right alongside the crowd in his heat yesterday on that top end of the pool. But Wong Ziwei is right on the opposite side of the pool, the Singaporean favourite. But right out in the front of the field, as you might have expected, Kilian Portal. And next to him, one lane up, Evgeny Lozatin. Like Kilian Portal, well, he's a real rising star of French swimming. It was so good in the Paris Paralympic Games last year. Kilian Portal and Alex Portal on the medal podium together in this event. And it was the same story at the World Championships as well. Kilian Portal, 16-year-old at that time, managed to get on that podium alongside his brother Alex Portal, who took the title in Manchester.
Yeah, and he's definitely stepped it up in the last 12 months. He swam superbly at the beginning of the week to take that 100 meters butterfly title, but it was last night, I think, where he shocked a few people to take the gold medal in the 100 meters freestyle. We saw his family regularly. They travel all over to support both the brothers, and they were saying how, again, it just goes to show when you're young, even when you swim well, you can still be disappointed and you want more. And Kilian, that's how he felt about Paris, and he's come back, and you can see he's had a great year's worth of training, and he's matured as an athlete, and now he is right up there featuring all along. It's very close at the front of this one, though, at the halfway point. Just one 100th separates Shchitovsky from Portal, and only 5 100ths to Lazutin. Those three went into the wall together. Shchitovsky, though, now half a body length ahead of Portal, who's just ahead of Lazutin. But these three looking pretty safe, pretty comfortable in those 3 centre lanes of this heat number 1.
Yeah, just 6 swimmers taking the second heat as well, including the world champion Alex Portal, due to take that start. And yeah, these 3 should be safely into the final if they continue at this pace in the second half of this one. Coming down towards the 300 mark, Chitkowski, again, he's been another one who has really made an impression. He's only 17 years of age, the neutral para-athlete. Sims in the S13 class, and he's also won 2 titles here. He's also won the 100 freestyle and the 100 meters butterfly. So side by side there, Chitkowski and Kilian Portal, they both won 100 freestyle and 100 butterfly in their respective classes. And they are separated by, well, 0.3 at that 300 mark, making their way down to the final turn.
Yeah, Chitkowski seems to be getting off the walls better. Portal brings it back during the actual swim. You'll see again, they're going into the wall quite evenly matched. This time the difference is 0.2, but they come off the wall and Chitkowski does open up a little bit of a lead. He's gone to his feet just to see if he's got that change of pace. We do see this sometimes, the athletes testing themselves in the heats, and now Chitkowski is moving away from Portal, but both looking pretty comfortable for qualification.
Yeah, certainly are, but this is impressive from Igor Chitkowski, and he will be into that wall, 409.54. Kilian Portal in 412.64 in second. Evgeny Losatin, 415.76, just dropped back in the second half of that one. Right at the top, it's the Qatar swimmer, Shamil Shahov at 425.18. He will be in with a good chance here. And still support for the home swimmer coming in here right at the bottom. It is Wong Ziwei. Can he get inside his best time? 4:41 it was. Is he inside? A 4:47 for the home swimmer. Well, great support there right to the end of Wong Ziwei from Singapore. And there, great shots again. Kilian Portal and Igor Chitkowski. They had Losatin for company in the first 200, but as the race progressed, Chitkowski seemed to get stronger and stronger in those closing stages. 4:09.54, reasonable time there in qualification for Chitkowski. Big improvement on his entry time actually, but not as fast as Kilian Portal's entry time of 4:05. The result of heat number 1, Igor Chitkowski, 4:09.54, 3 seconds ahead of Kilian Portal in the end, and Losatin in third.
Well, it was a good time from Losatin as well. Him and Chitkowski both improving by about the same margin.
Heat number 2 sees world champion Alex Portal in the centre lane, lane number 4. 2 from Spain, Juan Ferran Gutierrez and Ivan Salguero Otesa. They go in 2 and 3. Alex Portal, world champion, Paralympic Games silver medalist, goes in lane number 4. Nathan Hendricks, 4th place in the World Championships, the South African, goes in lane number 5. Cavalonia, neutral para athlete, goes in lane number 6, and the Uzbek swimmer Bektimarov goes in lane number 7. As they go down this first 50, it is almost the perfect spearhead, which pleases us, Liz. We like these things to be symmetrical at times.
We do. We like patterns, we like numbers, I think is the thing. But just to note that the 2 Spaniards in 2 and 3, Ferran Gutierrez and Salguero Otesa, they're also S12 athletes. But as we said in the first heat, it's a combined event. Only 1 set of medals up for grab, only 8 lanes in the final available. So it is still who gets to the wall first, the 8 fastest times, regardless of your classification group. And it's Portal, 59.48 at the turn. Hendricks, it's good support in here for the South African, 59.96. And then Cavallionac, 1:02 flat, just ahead of Salguero Otesa, who's having a good meet himself. The Spaniards, we said it in the women's event, they are having a good meet here in Singapore. They've got a great visually impaired squad, the Spanish athletes, and it's still Portal leading the way.
Spanish athletes had that great visually impaired squad right back, and we talked about the kind of legacies of games that, but the Paralympics in Barcelona was like primarily funded by a charity for blind and visually impaired people, and the Spanish team, well, ever since I've known them, had a really strong visually impaired squad, and in part it's due to that.
Yeah, and I think we see that certain countries do tend to have populated classifications and good systems and processes to bring athletes through. And again, we talk about when athletes have that exposure to role models to see what is possible, and we've seen it with the Colombians this week. They've got a strong squad of athletes with short stature. They go very well. The Chinese athletes, I mean, they're dominant in many classifications, but they do have a strong representation in the S5 classification, both male and female. And when you see somebody like you see what is possible, and you seek out those opportunities, and you also learn from people a lot quicker than if you're figuring things out for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's a lot of learning at these major championships as well. You see swimmers from other countries do certain techniques, and yeah, it's great to be part of these major events, see these athletes really make the most of what function they have in the water, all these different techniques, different coaching. And as Alex Portal heads into the last 100, Hendricks in second. It's a really close contest for third. Is it Cavalloniak, I think, just in third ahead of Salguero Orteza.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that from the Portals, and we do see it from swimmers where maybe their siblings are also in the same setup as they are. You've got someone to go through the process with and show you the ropes, and Kilian Portal definitely benefits from being in a squad with his brother. Portal going well here, 340.97 into that final. He's held 31, 32, 31 high, 32 low throughout this. Hendricks holding on to that second position, 344.71. And then Cavallionac still in that third position. That looks how it's going to be as we come towards the finish of this second heat. It will be Portal to stop the clock.
It's Alex Portal this time into the wall in that time of 4:13.43. Well, good time there from Alex Portal. He's just behind his brother in terms of qualification. 4:17.39 from Nathan Hendricks. In that second position, he'll be safely into that final. I think it'll lie him in about fifth position. The result is confirmed. Salguero Orteza should be there as well. He finishes 4:26.79, and Cavalloniak just behind Salguero Orteza in 4:27.07. I think that should be good enough for the final as well. So we might be looking at 4 from the first heat and 4 from the second, please.
Yeah, we saw that final burst of speed there from Salguero Orteza, as we did from Chustovsky in that first heat. Like we said, sometimes these athletes just wanting to test that they have got those next gears, should they need them, when they need them, for the final.
He had a good 100, didn't he, Salguero Orteza? So he has got a little bit of a turn of speed if he's there or thereabouts at the end, but that's a challenge, isn't it? And that 400. Alex Portal looking comfortable, the world champion. And there are your qualifiers for the final. Chaitovsky will lead the way. The two Portals in second and third. Lustin, Hendricks, Shahov, Salguero Orteza, and Cavalloniak. They will complete the lineup. So the two Portals made it into the final. It's kind of become a thing for us, isn't it, to get a selfie with the Portals at the major championships?
You're
us.
You're the selfie man. I just happen to be there at the same time.
Yeah,
but you're right. You are building up a collection. You're a selfie. You haven't got one with the mascot yet, though, and that is your thing.
I think I've only seen the mascot once, actually.
I might have to buy you one just so you get your picture.
That'd be nice. 200 IM, SM8, 2 heats of this one. We saw the start sheet there. Vendula Duskova. Czech swimmer goes in lane number 2. Zhu Hu from China. Silver medalist in the 50 freestyle at these championships. She goes in at lane number 3. Victoria Ishilova, who won that 50 freestyle yesterday. There she is, the neutral para athlete, Paralympic Games silver medalist. She goes in lane number 4. Great Jessica Long from the USA goes in lane number 5, won her 55th World Championship medal a couple of days ago. That 100 freestyle. Maria Pavlova, neutral para athlete, goes in lane number 6. Fantastic performance that she had to take a gold medal, a world record time in the breaststroke. And second Chinese swimmer in the outside lane, Zheng Ting. Zheng Ting, gold medalist at the Asian Games in the 400 freestyle. So she'll be strong at the end of this one, the swimmer in lane number 7. But out in front in the early stages, Jessica Long, well, what a great record she has had in this event. Liz, 6 times a world champion in this 200 IM.
Yeah, and she enjoys this race. She's been very vocal about the fact that she's approached this meet differently. I think the team are benefiting massively from having her in it. We've just talked about how good it can be when you've got experienced athletes showing you the ropes, and there's no one really left around more experienced than Jessica Long. She stood the test of time, and she started off well on that butterfly. She just missed out on her medals in the individual 100 meters butterfly, but she's been trying out new methods of training, exploring new hobbies to keep the excitement alive. She always talks about how she was a little girl that just loves to swim, and I think as an athlete you never really want to lose that. And if you're going to go into home Paralympic Games and give yourself the best shot of success, then you need to look at the cycle as a whole. Her backstroke is probably the weaker of her 4 strokes, and she's just dropped down there into 3rd position behind Ishilova, who turned in a 1:18.73, and Zheng Ting at 1:20.08. But ultimately, like I said, backstroke probably her weakest stroke. She is an SB7 on breaststroke, whereas the athletes around her, Ishilova and Zheng, will be SB8s. So in that sense, this is the disadvantaged leg. She's such a great technician, but we're looking at Ishilova at the front of the field, where you'd expect her to be as the fastest seeded athlete in this heat.
Yeah, it was a great shot there of Ishilova, that underwater shot. See Ishilova come down on that breaststroke. A strong pull from that arm, that big kick as well from the 2 good legs, and Ishilova heads for home, 2:07.65. She's about 3.5 seconds ahead of Zhu, who has moved into 2nd place. Zhu, who took silver medal at the last World Championships, a Chinese swimmer, as I said, good sprinter, and she did well on the 50 freestyle. Very similar impairment to Ishilova, and now Jessica Long getting into her stroke now, and she will pull up on the 2 swimmers with the 1 arms, those strong arms of Jessica Long, looking strong at the end here, getting a little bit of a sprint alongside Ishilova, and she might just pip it, or Ishilova just kicks again at the end and makes sure she finishes ahead of Jess Long. 2:49.00, 2:49.22. Should be good enough for a place in the final for both of them. 2 Chinese swimmers very close there, 2:51.65 for Zhu and 2:51.93 for Zheng. And that should be good enough, I think. 2:51. Well, 4th place finisher Zheng might have a little bit of a nervous wait for this 2nd heat, but Ishilova takes that 1st heat ahead of Jess Long, but only just.
And you can see the difference in the starts due to the impairments. Jess Long, great reaction time, but she's always going to be the one that enters the water first and then comes up first, because the fastest part of a start is the underwater kicking phase, which you can't do if you don't have legs. So Ishilova maximizes her advantage off that start and that turn. And then the swim speed and style of Jessica Long, it's always been so impressive. Like, you look at it and you wouldn't even know that she doesn't have a leg kick. She's so strong in that upper body, and she's such a textbook tactician. Is that a word? I don't even know. She's great with her tactics.
Exactly, yeah.
And she's technically great.
Ishilova was able just to hold off the challenge of Jess Long there in the closing stages. She takes that 1st heat by 0.2 of a second. Just keep an eye on this 2nd heat. World record holder Brock Whiston from Great Britain goes in lane number 5. So, swimmers for this second heat. Another good start from Husni Kukandakwe from Uganda, right up there at the top. She's had a good championships. Paula Navina from Croatia goes in lane number 2. Zina Francesca Palazzo in lane number 3 for Italy. Brock Wisdom, the world record holder from Great Britain, the champion last year in Paris. She goes in lane number 4. No one in 5. We have had a withdrawal. Alice Ty from Great Britain was due to swim there, but no Alice Ty in this one. But we do have Nia Zodari Barezzo in lane number 6 from Spain, and Mira Jean-Mac from Germany in lane number 7.
Well, at the front of the field, it is Whiston of Great Britain. She's got a breaststroke that is almost unrivaled in this individual medley, so expect her to play to that strength. Going well right at the bottom of the pool in the early stages, it is Miriam Jean-Mac. She's a medalist in the backstroke, and she's using that to great effect. The German, who will be out of sight from the swimmers in the centre at the moment. But like I said, once we get onto the breaststroke, expect Whiston to try to reclaim that lead. 42.5 was the split for Matt there. A good 5 seconds quicker than anyone else in the field. It was a strong performance. 122.05. She's got a 2-second lead over Whiston, but Whiston now in the centre, going very well.
Yeah, good head-on shot there from Brock Whiston in the centre of the pool. It's all kind of pretty spread out there. Paula Navina going well for Croatia up there in lane number 2, and there's a line of swimmers behind her. Palazzo coming through for Italy. Zodari Barezzo, Mira Jean-Mac and Kukandakwe all pretty much in a row here as they come into this turn, but Whiston is away and clear. 2:10.81 for the Great Britain swimmer. Navina, great breaststroke, bring her into second.
Yeah, Navina will look now to have a strong freestyle. She's got that high turnover at the top. Lot slower turnover from Whiston. Whiston just taking this one easy this morning, conserving her energy levels as she goes into the final 25 metres. But Navina having a great swim, coming back well in 6. It is Zodari Barezzo of Spain.
And Brock Whiston now into the last 5 metres or so. Paula Navina having a great swim there at the top. Brock Whiston will get to the wall in 2:52.72, not quite as fast as the first heat, but she'll make it into that final. Navina in second, great swim from her, bang on her entry time. And Zodari Barezzo and Palazzo, they will be in 3rd and 4th in that heat. And Kukandakwe, another African record for the Ugandan, 3:03.72. She's not 4 seconds off the old mark.
Well, she's having a great week, Kukandakwe, improving every time she gets in the water. We're here now with Whiston on this replay, just showing just some 10 seconds off the time that she's been this year. So that's an indication that there's plenty more to come from the British athlete.
Yeah, looked relaxed there from Brock Whiston, the world record holder that was set in the World Championships back in 2019. It's never really been challenged since. Victoria Shalova will lead the finalists ahead of Jess Long. 2 Chinese swimmers will be in 3rd and 4th, all from that first heat. And from the second heat, Brock Whiston, Paula Navina, Zodari Barezzo, and I think Palazzo was the last swimmer into that final. So 4 from the first heat, 4 from the second, but the 4 from the first heat were all faster.
Yeah, well, we say that sometimes you always have the luxury when you're in the first heat of hanging around, especially if it is tight qualification.
Oh, another one that might be tight qualification is this one, 200 metres individual medley in the SM8 classification for men. Kotaro Ojiwara, Paralympic Games finalist from Japan, goes in lane number 4.
Yeah, we've seen some tight racing in this S8 classification group. SM obviously signifying that it is an individual medley event, but a lot of the athletes the same as we've seen earlier in the week in the S8 events.
Yeah, got some repeat swimmers coming in to the events now. Very few swimmers I think we've seen that are making their debut now. We're at the penultimate day.
I think we've got a few new breaststrokers, well, not new breaststrokers, but breaststroke specialists.
Oh yeah, that always said the breaststrokers are a breed apart, really, aren't they?
They do tend to be. And the SB8 breaststroke, so they often is the medley and breaststrokers in this S8 classification that have a 2-day meet right at the end.
Well, we're waiting for the swimmers to come out for this next heat, which is the 200 IM. We're running ahead of time, Liz. It's good stuff, isn't it?
It is, and like we say, you can't ever start a race before it's published time. You can start it late, which does happen every now and again.
Yeah, if there are delays, yeah.
But that's sometimes why we'll see the hold, because the athletes base their preparation on that time that was published that they would be racing.
And there's Ojiwara, fastest time in the world this year, 2:28.90. Set that in Japan back in April. So another swimmer who's kind of coming through the ranks. We've seen him, well, he made his debut at the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. That again, it's one that saw a few new Japanese swimmers make their debut at these Tokyo Games. Full lineup was Paskakov, neutral para athlete, going in 1. Li Ting won a gold medal in the butterfly earlier this week, goes for China in lane number 2. Carlos Martinez Fernandez for Spain goes in 3, European medalist in 2021. Ojiwara, fastest in the world this year, goes in 4. Reid Maxwell just missed the medals in the 400 freestyle on day 1. He goes in 5. Callum Simpson, the Australian, who has medalled in all the freestyle events this week, including the gold in the 100. He goes in 6. Stepanov, neutral para athlete, in 7.
Well, Ogiwara got off to a great start in lane 4 and Li Ting up in 2. They've almost got identical strokes down this butterfly leg. It's those two that led the way in the early stages. As we come into the first turn, it will be Ogiwara 30.85 from Lee 31.14, just 4/100 ahead of Reid Maxwell of Canada. Expect Simpson in that gold cap to come back strongly on that final freestyle leg. We've seen great things from him this week, but at the front of the field, it is Ogiwara that leads the way.
Yeah, and again, see the one-arm swimmers, great exponents of the backstroke, these top swimmers. A little bit of a fly kick there at the end of the backstroke, not the kind of traditional alternating kick. But Ojiwara just ahead of Maxwell, really uses that technique to great advantage and looking good. Ojiwara here as Maxwell in second. 108.06 for the Japanese swimmer, 109.21 for the Canadian, and 112.99 for Baskakov. But the breaststrokers now all queuing up to try and get back on terms with these leaders. There's almost a few kind of private battles going on across the pool. 3 in a row at the top, all chasing the leader. 2 together down at the bottom, including Callum Simpson with that gold cap. But they're all queuing up behind the leader, but Ojiwara is holding on well.
Yeah, he's looking good here. Martinez Fernandez has had a great breaststroke leg for Spain. He turns in second position. 154.94 for Ojiwara, 155.6 for Martinez Fernandez. Li Ting currently still in that third place, 157.61, but Simpson right there with him, and he now is starting to use that freestyle to move through.
Maxwell also coming back as well, the Canadian. So the Canadian and the Australian might just take this one. Look at this, 5 swimmers all in a row. And the touch here at the wall could be all important for qualification, you know. Simpson is going to get it. 2:29.86. Well done, Callum Simpson. Another great time for the Australian. He is on really good form this week. Just hedges Maxwell, 2:30.11. leading in third, and Ojiwara wins that close contest of Martinez Fernandez for fourth, and that could be vital.
Yeah, it'll be a nervous wait for Martinez Fernandez as we watch the second heat. Not much margin separating many of the swimmers in this one. But Simpson, as you said, Paul, swimming with confidence, like we said. Just then you know you can attack anything. You're not as worried that things are going to hurt so much. When you're swimming well, the pain is definitely less.
Callum Simpson wins it. Reed Maxwell in second, leading in third. Ojiwara, world leader this year, in fourth. There was a disqualification in that one, and that was Baskakov, the neutral para athlete, was disqualified. Didn't affect the top places in that heat. Here is heat number 2. Again, a few swimmers in this one. Again, a range of impairments. A few swimmers will swim with the one arm. The other swimmers with the other impairments who might come back in the later stages as well. Mikhail Golis goes for Poland in lane number 1. Turgut Yaraman, bronze medalist in the backstroke. Turkey swimmer goes into Lui Fenghu from China in lane number 3. The world champion from 2022, silver medalist from 2022, and gold medalist in the European Champs is Demosthenis Michelintzakis. He goes in lane number 4. Noah Jaffe won a medal in the 50 freestyle last night, goes in lane number 5, the USA swimmer. Andres Onea from Austria going in lane number 6, and Boyzanarov going in lane number 7. Off to a good start, the Uzbek swimmer.
He turned just 6/100ths behind Yaraman of Turkey, but already when we're on to the backstroke, going well is now Boynazarov. He's out in the lead by himself, and the chasing pack are being led at the top of the pool. Louis of China in 3 is going very well. He's now ahead of that early lead from Yaraman, but it will be Boynazarov that's moved up from second to first at the halfway point. 108.61 for him. Liu is into second, 109.4. Yaraman just drops down to third, 110.4 with Michelintzakis behind. He's got a good breaststroke, good freestyle. Michelintzakis, that black hat of Greece, but we are here with who are we with there? Andrea. Is that, no, who is that?
I think it's down Boyzanarov, I think, down in the outside lane, the leader. Yeah, there he is as we pan out. Andreas Onea coming back really strongly, the Austrian. He's been a medalist at the major championships as well, so Onea making his way into second place, giving himself a good chance here, but the freestylers will come back. But it's been a good swim in the outside lane. Boynazarov having a fantastic swim. We don't know much about Boynazarov. We saw him at the European Open last year, didn't swim in the Paralympic Games. He made the final in this one. He was in 8th place. He's going to be in a good position here if we can continue this. Onea now being caught by the swimmers in the middle. Michelintzakis coming through strongly in lane number 4. Here comes Noah Jaffe as well, but it is going to be Boynazarov from Uzbekistan into the wall first. 229.77. Well, it's all very tight, isn't it, Liz? Michelintzakis should be in the final with 230.67. Noah Jaffe 231.65. Not sure if that's going to be in. Yeah, I think he might just scrape in. Lu Feng 231.77. Yaraman 231.80. Onea 232. Will miss out on that final, the Austrian. He put everything into that breaststroke. Onea couldn't quite hold on the freestyle.
No, on Boynazarov, well, I'm an advocate for all swimmers having to wear different colour hats because he confused me then, but like he had a great swim all the way through that from lane 8. He was just behind after that first turn marginally, and then once he hit the front on the backstroke, that was it. He should be delighted with that one.
Well, he certainly stepped up. 229.77. Boynazarov takes it. Simpson, Maxwell, Lee, Michelintzakis, Ojiwara, Martinez Fernandez, and Jaffe will be in the finals. But, well, there was around about a second or so between everybody in that field.
And Andres Onoe actually is an example of one of those swimmers who we haven't seen this week. And he is a 2-day meet. He goes medley today, breaststroke tomorrow.
They look good, actually. The breaststroke looked very good for Andreas Onoe. Just couldn't quite hold it on that freestyle. And the qualification was tough.
And mighty close.
Well, going back to the crowd there as we see the start list for the next heat. Heat 1 of the 50 metres backstroke. This is the one that the host nation have been looking forward to this event, as the world and Paralympic champion Yip Pinju will be in the second heat. But there's a lineup for the first heat. Ebrard Bilge, Ariola Trimi, Angela Procida, Katarina Draganova Cordas, and Areti Spiridou. That's a lineup for this 50 backstroke first heat. We have no swimmer in lane number 3, but we do have 5 swimmers in this one. We were just saying earlier, Liz, that this S2 classification for women is probably as strong as we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's strong and it's busy. There's a lot of athletes in this one. They've got 2 big heats here. You said you will be one of the favourites. She'll go in the next heat. Expect to see some noise. But the 2 Italians in these centre lanes, they will pose a threat.
Yeah, Trimi won the title in the 200 freestyle a couple of days ago. She had an excellent contest there against Teresa Perales of Spain, who's not taking the start in this first heat. Great Spanish champion, but Trimi, again, is someone with that degenerative condition. Her impairment's got worse over the years. We've seen her move down the classification since she was an S4 and an S3 she competed, and also now in the S2 classification, Ariola Trimi from Italy. And there's the Greek, Areti Spiridou. And again, we talked a little bit earlier on about countries having certain classifications. The Greeks always been really strong, the S1s and the S2s, and sometimes the S3s. The Greeks have always had a contingent in those classifications.
Yeah, both male and female. And I think, again, some countries just then, because they've got those swimmers, they develop the support system and the coaching environment to really help them thrive. And if you're looking for something to get involved in, and you see someone who is like you, or your parents or the adults looking after you see someone like you, then that's the direction they send you in, because life can already be tough enough. So if you can find a way in where someone can be like, actually, I found these shortcuts, then it works really well. And I think some countries just thrive in certain classification groups.
Well, the Greek is closest to us. As we see these different starting techniques for the swimmers. Most of the swimmers being held onto the wall by their coaches. Bilge from Turkey in 2. Trimi goes in 4 next to her Italian teammate Procida. Draganova Korda, Serbian, in 6, and Spiridou from Greece closest to us.
Yeah, and you can see Trimi and Procida with those different stroke styles there, that long single arm stroke from Trimi. So it's really had to be adapted and evolved since moving into this classification group. And then Procida with that double arm stroke. They're pretty even at the 25-meter mark. Often the stroking can make the difference when you come into the wall. It's easier to put a short stroke in on a single arm, but Procida, the European champion, going very well here. Again, when you do have strength in numbers in a country, that domestic competition really pushes you on, and we can see that here with the 2 Italians in the centre lanes.
Yeah, side by side, 2 Italians, and they're looking to secure qualification into this top 8, and they will do if they finish in the top 2 in this one. Procida, silver medalist at the last World Championships. No, doesn't quite time that finish correctly. She finished on her head rather than the arms, but it doesn't matter. 1:10.89 for her. Trimi 1:11.40, and those 2 Italians just a couple of seconds outside their entry times. Draganova Kordas, the Serbian. And I think the only Serbian swimmer here at these championships, Draganova Kordas. She's been a regular at the major championships over the past few years. She was a swimmer before she had her accident, one that's moved into para swimming. Filce from Turkey was in 4th position, and Spiridou just finishing there in 152.43. But Rashida and Trimmy away and clear at the front of the field, and they'll be looking now towards that final tonight. They'll be some of the favourites for medals.
Absolutely, and like you said, they've got a bit of time left in the tank from what they've been this year. They didn't need to go too wild in this heat this morning. They're both experienced, and you can see Procida there finishing almost up the wall, so there's half a metre in there with a stretch of the arm. She can get that on a full stretch tonight.
Just waiting for confirmation. I think we're okay in the venue. We don't see anything untoward with the result of that one. Just making sure the swimmers are out of the water. Of course, the second heat can't really start until the other swimmers are out of the water, and some of these S2 swimmers making their way to the sides to get out there. But result is confirmed for that first heat. Procida takes it ahead of Trimmy. No dramas this time.
Good, we like drama-free.
Absolutely. Well, what are we going to have here? The home favourite. Yip Pinju is in the middle lane. Oh, just wait for the noise here. We've got certain schools that just arrived into the arena a short time ago, so this might be loud for the home favourite, the big national hero of Singapore, the big hope for the gold medal at these championships, and what a record that she has over the years. The full lineup for this second heat: Janet Adami Rosa will go in lane 2 for Hungary. Fabiola Ramirez Martinez, World Championship medalist on the last 2 occasions. She goes in lane number 3. Yip Pinju will go for Singapore. 3 times a world champion in this event, 3 times a Paralympic champion in this event. What a record she has. Hedy Chaves Perez, a second of the Mexicans. She will go in lane number 5. Olympic Games silver medalist behind Yip. Koltseva, who provided the shot the other day in the 100 back. She took the gold ahead of Yip, but here is Ildem in lane number 7, closest to us, but the home favourite right in the mix in the early stages.
Yeah, and Yip will start to make her way through the field. She's got that high turnover that drives through the shoulders, a perfectly flat head, and she's up now in line with Ramirez Martinez and Aceves Perez, the early leaders. Koltseva is a danger at the bottom of the pool. This is only a heat, remember. She shouldn't need to go too hard, but she tends to finish very strongly. But it is Yip who's just at the front of the field now. She just have those arms to finish. The noise in the pool is rising, but also going very well. Still next to her, 1 lane up, is Ramirez Martinez.
Well, it's a fantastic contest, this one, in this heat. Here comes Koltseva in lane number 6. The 2 Mexicans on either side of Yip, and it is going to be Yip, I think, will be into the wall first. Yip Pinju will touch the wall to take that heat. My goodness. Well, it felt like a final there in this arena. 109.58. It's a great contest, wasn't it? My goodness, there. 109.58, she takes it. She's going to be a very similar sort of time to the Italians, but she will go in first place. 109.58 for Yip. Ramirez Martinez pushed her all the way in second, 110.94. Chaves Perez third in 112.02. And Koltseva was finishing strongly at the bottom, 112.31. They're all going to be there. Janet Adami's into the wall now, 138, and Ildem, the S1 swimmer, swimming up against the S2's 140 for the Turkey swimmer. but it was a great heat, that, wasn't it?
It was, and it's all very close in that qualification, so there's promise across the field. Yip does have a margin from what she's been already. She's been a 105, she's ducked under the 106 this year, so she has got a few seconds to play with, which is similar for the Italians from the first heat. But it's definitely set it up to be an exciting final tonight, with everyone thinking they've got a chance.
Well, the home favourite will go into the final in first place, ahead of the 2 Italians and the 2 Mexicans. But look how close it is between the top 6. Just a couple of seconds splitting everyone. The cardboard cutouts are out in the arena with the faces of Yip Pinju. Fantastic support for the host swimmer. Men's 100 backstroke, he is coming up right now. Gabriel dos Santos Araujo from Brazil goes in the middle lane, trying to add another medal to the tally that he has this week.
Well, he's been in great form once again. It's one heat of this one, 9 swimmers.
Just got to drop one to get into that final. Of this 50 backstroke will be the top 8. We have 2 from Brazil. We've got Bruno Becker de Silva right at the top of the picture. Conrad Hildebrand, Swedish swimmer, goes in lane number 1. Rodrigo Santillan from Peru will go in lane number 2. Vladimir Danilenko, Paralympic Games silver medalist, he goes in lane number 3. Gabriel dos Santos Araujo, kind of light. Yep, has got a great record in recent years. Twice a world champion, twice a Paralympic champion, the Brazilian there at the right side of the picture. Jacek Czech on the left as we look at it. He's been a silver medalist at the last 3 world championships. Great record, Jacek Czech. Polish swimmer, Alberto Albarza from Chile. Paralympic Games bronze medalist. Chilean team coming up beside us now to have a better look at this one. Jesus Lopez Cervantes, we saw him swim in events earlier this week. The Mexican goes in 7. Mohamed Poilil goes in that outside lane closest to us. The Indian swimmer. So again, one heat of this one. Should be fairly comfortable qualification. There's 4 swimmers in the middle lanes. I've got entry times under the 1 minute mark. Danilenko, Dos Santos Araujo, Czech and Barca. Should be fairly comfortable for those ones in the middle, Liz. The other ones in the outside lanes could be a bit of a tussle here.
As they get away, it will be Dos Santos Araujo that uses the underwater. Everyone else straight up and into their strokes. The high stroke rate of Danilenko in 3 normally comes through quite well in the closing stages. Czech of Poland seems to always come into form at the right time. He picked up a medal earlier in the week. He's going well, but it is Santos Araujo that leads through the 25 meters. Danilenko is now working his way back. He leads the rest of the pack, but it's the Brazilian who's out in front.
Yeah, Dos Santos Araujo, and he leads the favourites into the wall here. The top 4, as we thought, might be very, very comfortable. Dos Santos Araujo is going to be in first. To touch with the head, of course, 55.60. Danilenko, 57.39. Czech under the 1 minute mark, 59.68. And our Barca, 1 minute, .22. These 4 favourites. We'd expect them to contest the medals tonight. Santillan gets in for Peru. Peru have been making their way into the finals as well at these championships, with a couple of swimmers making it into the final. Hildebrand is in there at the top as well. Lopez Cervantes has finished 1:12.71 for Lopez Cervantes. Hoylil has finished in 1:14. The final swimmer to finish will be Bruno Beca da Silva, the second of the Brazilians. As you can see, Liz, this is the S2 classification. Swimmers with high levels of impairment.
Yeah, Bruno Beca da Silva, typically more of a freestyle specialist. He touches there in 1:52.67. Swims with just that one single arm, no bend in the elbow for Beca da Silva. Like I said, he tends to swim a better freestyle, but this is the backstroke event. And there in the replay we can see Dos Santos Araujo, he uses those abs very well. He propels with the feet. Essentially a butterfly kick on his back to bring him in to the wall. He'll be happy with that.
And we saw him mix about, didn't he? He was on his front in the longer distance events, sometimes changing to his back.
Yeah, he does. Sometimes he'll start on his front. His dive, he's got a strong dive. When he does go from he typically uses that in the freestyle events. But you said he will sometimes swim on his back. The Singaporeans out in force.
Yeah, I just saw a few of those big cardboard heads then.
You love those, don't you?
I do, yeah.
I can get one of you if you want.
Yeah, we'll have one of each of us.
No, we don't need one of me. It's fine.
That'd be good. I wonder where you get them from. I'm sure you get them made up.
Well, we first saw them in Paris. Well, I first saw them in Paris.
As a result, it is confirmed for that 50 backstroke S2. Santos Araujo takes it. Danilenko, Czech, Arbarsa, they will be in there as well. Bruno Beca da Silva will be the man to miss out. Brazilian finishing in 9th position.
It does only seem to be the home swimmers that have those cardboard cutouts, but maybe that's because they wouldn't be that good, would they, to get on to an aeroplane? We're already struggling with the mascot.
Yeah. I don't know, they're quite flat, aren't they? Just a bit of preparation.
But they don't fold.
Big suitcases, though. Well, you will.
No.
There's 50 freestyle S7. This will be fast, very competitive. Looking at the entry times for these swimmers in the 2 heats. It's going to be tough qualification again. Sara Vargas Blanco, the world champion from 2023. She will go in that middle lane, trying to retain that title. She took a bronze medal yesterday in the butterfly. Sara Vargas Blanco is one of the youngest swimmers to take part in the Tokyo Paralympics. That was her debut. I think she was second youngest in the whole programme there. She's come through, winning medals on the big stage as well. Next to her, experienced campaigner Annie Pallian, neutral para athlete, won this title in 2015. So 10 years ago, Annie Pallian took the title. Sabina Weber-Treiber goes in lane number 2. He was a medalist at the last World Championships. We saw one of the Austrians, Andreas Onea, earlier. Got another Austrian in this one, Sabina Weber-Treiber. Iona Winifred, young 14-year-old from Great Britain. She has had a good championships, 2 medals to her name in the breaststroke and the individual medley. Vargas Blanco in 4, Pallian in 5, Ortiz Campos in 6, Nicholas Sinclair Maitland in the outside lane in 7.
Well, Vargas Blanco got off to a great start, as did Pallian. It's those two leading the way. Ortiz Campos going very well for Spain, but it's nothing between Vargas Blanco and Pallian as they go into the second half of the race.
Yeah, that high turnover of Annie Pallian going well, but it is going to be Vargas Blanco, I think, first to the wall. Pallian now beginning to come alongside. It's these two all on the touch, and it will be Vargas Blanco, 33.86, 6/100ths was the difference there between Vargas Blanco and Pallian, with Winifred coming through into third, 34.73 for the Great Britain swimmer. Ortiz Campos, 35.24. So top 4 away and clear of Nicholas Sinclair Maitland in 5th. But a great stroke there from Pallian as she came through. Not sure if she breathed at all on that 50, you know, Annie Pallian?
No, she looked strong there, and she was finishing fast. And the different arm strokes, Pallian was coming through quite low, Vargas Blanco a bit higher. That could be vital in the final.
6/100 separate the two. They should be in the final together. Iona Winifrith, that'll be good enough, I think, for a final place. Orti Campos, 35.24. You're right on the edge, I think, for the Spanish swimmer. We'll wait and see what happens for this next heat. World record holder in this one is Mallory Wegerman, and she goes in lane number 4 for the USA. Swimmers already on the blocks. There's Mallory Wegerman in lane number 4, Daniel Doris in lane number 5. They had a great tussle in the 50 fly yesterday, won by Doris. Freestyle. Is Mallory Wegerman's one of her favoured strokes. She's the world record holder in this one. Line up there, Nishida, Bogatreva, Sayer. That green costume. Wegerman going from the sit start. Daniel Doris should get a good start. Chloe Osborne from Australia and Samela Mandualo from Mexico.
It is Doris that is up first out in front, the Canadian. But already the fast arms of Wegerman chasing her down. Going well at the top of the pool is Bogatreva in 2. But now Wegerman pulls alongside Doris.
Yeah, they had a great tussle there in the butterfly. Doris doing the butterfly. Of course, it's a freestyle event, and Wegerman with those arms into the wall now. And she will get in 33.23 for Mallory Wegerman. Doris should make it to the final. Exactly a second behind the American, 34.23. Chloe Osborne, the anchor leg on the Australian relay team yesterday, 34.66, and Bogatreva, 35.02, just ahead of Riley Sayer, 35.07. But good start from Doris, but a good finish from Wegerman.
Yeah, Wegerman has really brought her best form into these championships. She's got quicker than she's been all year. She won her 20th World Championship medal last night in that butterfly, and she's looking good here. She was a Paralympic champion in the S8 50 freestyle.
She's won that world title, Mallory Wegerman, twice in her previous 2 long course world championships. So she's got 100% record in the long course event. In this one, 2010 and 2019 for Mallory Wegerman. She wants to make it a hat trick. Just waiting for confirmation of this result again. They're making us wait sometimes for some events, Liz.
It's all part of the fun, Paul. All part of the fun.
You sound like you're enthralled by it.
Makes me nervous, these weights. Especially on freestyle events. I'm like, oh no, what could possibly have gone wrong?
Well, Daniel Doris, she was disqualified in the fly yesterday, and then she was reinstated, the Canadian. So there is no drama again. I think we're okay. Just looking at our screens here. Don't see any disqualifications, and there we go. There are the qualifiers. It was very close for qualification. Mallory Wegerman leads the way, 33.23. Right down to Riley Sayer, 35.07 for the New Zealander. And Orti Campos, well, she didn't make it from that first heat, only by 0.17 of a second. So 3 from the first heat and 5 from the second to make it into that top 8. And again, Liz, this is going to be a really close contest. Wegerman looked good at the front of the field, but behind her, it's around about a second between everyone.
Yeah, the next event, the men's 50 freestyle, are probably going to be equally as tense and exciting. Very close. He said to make it into the final.
5 swimmers in this first heat and 6 in the second. Again, they've got to go down to 8, so losing 3 swimmers. There's Carlos Serrano Zarate, gold medalist in the breaststroke earlier this week. silver medalist in the butterfly yesterday, behind Andrei Trusov, who goes in the next heat. Karpenko goes in 2 for Ukraine. Semyonovs goes for Latvia in lane number 3. Serrano Zarate, Paralympic Games silver medalist. He goes in lane number 4, the middle lane, the Colombian. Federico Biccelli, gold medalist in the 400 freestyle earlier this week. He goes in lane number 5. Bakhtiyarov from Uzbekistan in the outside lane, the 17-year-old. He goes in lane number 6.
Well, the tall figure of Semyonov's got away well for Latvia in 3, but once they're up and into the strokes, it's Serrano Zarate going very well, as is Bakhtiyarov in lane 6 for Uzbekistan. It's those two out in front, but now it is Serrano Zarate leading the way for Colombia.
Yeah, he's got a very good record in this sprint freestyle. Serrano Zarate, medalist at the Paralympic Games and the World Championships, and he just able to get in ahead of Biccelli. Semyonovs in 3rd position there, the Latvian. Serrano Zarate, that should be good enough for the final, 28.86. Biccelli 29.10 for the Italian will be good enough as well, with just 6 in the heat. But it's a good start from Semyonovs. A real contrast there. The tall figure of Yuri Semyonovs in 3rd place, 30.51. He just held off the challenge of Bakhtiyarov, the Uzbek swimmer, 17-year-old, to finish in 3rd place. And that, again, in terms of qualification, could be vital. Serrano Zarate takes it ahead of Biccelli, only 15/100ths between 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, Biccelli was coming through strongly there.
Should make it into that final, okay. So 2 swimmers under the 30-second mark. Should get a few more here in this heat. Andrei Trusov, who's dominated this event in recent times. He's the Paralympic champion and world champion 3 times over, Andrei Trusov. But here, the home swimmer in lane number 6. The Asian champion, To Wee-sung. We've seen him already take part in a couple of finals. And this is one of the events where he's got a very good record. He's silver medalist in the Commonwealth Games last time in Birmingham. And also Asian champion, as I said, in this 50 metres freestyle. Let's hope he can make it into the final. Full lineup: Williams, Sadi, Trusov, Efrosinin, To and Kanisevic.
Well, they get away well, and in that centre lane, that big figure of Trusov straight up and into his stroke. Efrosinin tends to come back, but going well at the early stages. It's Trusov and Sadi, who's having an excellent week here for South Africa.
Yeah, South African right on the shoulder of Andrei Trusov, the world record holder and world and Paralympic champion. It's going to be Trusov into the wall first, and he will stop the clock. 27.98. Good swim there from Trusov. That's the fastest of the heats. Efrosinin did finish well, 28.84. Sadi 29.30, and To Wee-sung 29.97, and that will be good enough for a place in the final for the Singaporean.
Well, the Singaporean finished strongly, but Trusov has just got such power once he gets off that block. He's a really tall figure, and he uses that height really well in these sprint events. The Paralympic world and European champion delivers.
Did indeed, and he is fastest into that final. There's another 2 swimmers on the 28-second range, Efrosinin and Serrano Zarate, but To Wee-sung is in there as well, and in with a shout. It is going to be very, very close. He qualifies in 6th place for that final, the local swimmer. Biccelli will be there, Sadi will be there, Semyonovs and Bakhtiyarov will complete the lineup for that final. Another good good final in prospect tonight for these S7 classifications and host nation representation, which is always good to see. Under backstroke, S11 for the women. Another home swimmer in this one, Sophie Soon, right up there in lane 0. Again, we've only got to lose one swimmer. And Sophie Soon is maybe in danger of this one. Let's hope she can pull out a good swim to qualify for that final for Singapore. And there's the home crowd. They're loving it in here, aren't they?
Yeah, there's lots of different ways for these supporters to make noise. We've seen those inflatable sticks that you bang together. I don't know if they got a technical name.
I don't know. Been around for a while.
Or those fans that Constantina as well, they seem to be able to clap together.
Not the ones that look like mouse mats.
No, not those.
We've
ones.
got them, haven't we?
Yeah, they're super effective, but not for making noise.
No,
so,
that's true. School's in again today.
Good old-fashioned voices as well.
There's just in the background there, you see the big cardboard cutout. Sophie Soon in this one. And she's right over on the far side of the pool next to from us, but next to the spectators. So line up for this one. This is the S11 classification. Sophie Soon from Singapore in lane 0. Barva Geneseva, neutral para athlete in lane 1. Katerina Kachuk, Ukraine in lane 2. Tomori Ishura from Japan in 3, relay medalist earlier on in the week. Daria Lukyanenko, well, she'd been dominating this classification. Silver medalist yesterday, though, behind Lisette Bronsmuth, the Netherlands. Margia from China goes in lane number 5, medalist in the breaststroke earlier. And Luz Pelotero, World Championship medalist from Argentina last time out.
Take your mark.
Shevchenko from the neutral para athletes in 7, and Rabellini from Italy right down at the bottom in lane number 8. This is the S11 100 backstroke swimmers will have no vision at all. They're all wearing blacked out goggles. It's a very close contest here, but we'll see the tappers as these swimmers approach the turn, Liz, and also at the finish.
Yeah, Katerina Kachuk of Ukraine got off to the best start into 1A lap from her now. Knizeva is going well, the neutral para athlete in 1. In fact, all the action is at that end of the pool in these early stages. There's not a lot to choose between anyone. It is Knizeva that goes over 37.26 from Kachuk 37.99 with Ishura 38.08. Soon did turn down in 9th, but she's still in contention for that final place in the final, with her and Rabellini battling it out, but they are on opposite sides of the pool.
Yeah, it's Knizeva going well over there in lane number 1. The 16-year-old NPA swimmer and Ukrainian catcher is now being overtaken now by Ishura as they come in, but all over the pool, the swimmers there as they take the tap at the end. Again, we spoke about the important role of the tappers as 4 swimmers come in absolutely together behind Knizeva. But what a swim from the neutral para athlete. 1:16.06 is inside the European record held by Lukyanenko, who finishes now in the middle lane in 4th position. But there is a 16-year-old. Wow, what a swim that was from the outside lane. Just on the host nation swimmer, Sophie Soon. She did finish in 9th place, 1:30.84, an improvement on the entry time for the Singaporean swimmer. Yeah. Who won't make it through.
And Knizeva benefited from that, the home support for Soon, I think. Like, it really pulled her along. She had a good first 50, but it was the second 50 where she did the damage and moved away from the rest of the field. She looked great there.
Look at how steady that head is, and she takes the tap and finishes into the wall. That was an incredibly quick swim there from Knizeva. 1:16.06. The previous European record was Lukyanenko, 1:16.64. So that is inside that record by half a second. So well done to her. Kachuk was in 2nd place at the end, 1:20.03. Shevchenko and Lukyanenko all on the 120 range, as was Ishura. Again, in the S11 class, it's all pretty unpredictable, isn't it? Blacked out goggles, you can just veer off course, you can hit the lane ropes, lots can happen.
Yeah, and again, it's a great indication of what is possible, but you do really get into that final and wipe the slate clean. But it's very close there very close. 4 120s.
Well, 116 is going to be tough to beat, but there are swimmers here who are capable of going that kind of margin. European record for Knisova to take that heat and to qualify for the final in first place. Kachuk, Shevchenko, Lukyanenko will be there, and unfortunately Sophie Soon will not make it for the host nation, but I'm sure she enjoyed that great support that she got from the home crowd over there in lane 0. Again, one and only heat of the men's 100 backstroke S11. Lithuanian swimmer Zverblis goes in lane 0, right at the top. Huadongdong from China goes in 1. Marco Meneses from Portugal, he's been a medalist at the World Championships before, silver medalist last time. Meneses going in lane number 2. Kratokvil, the Czechia swimmer, goes in lane number 3. What championships he's having. 3 gold medals for the young man, 17-year-old. Mikhailo Serbin from Ukraine is the world record holder, the world and Paralympic champion. He goes in lane number 4. Albert Gillis from Spain. Again, Gillis making a little bit of a comeback. He made his Paralympic debut in Athens in 2004. I haven't seen him at a major championship since Paralympic Games in London in 2012, but he swam really well this week, and backstroke very much a focus for him. Danilo Chufarov had a great individual medley to take gold, the Ukrainian in 6, Lee from China in 7, and Nandal from India in 8. Again, 9 in this heat. They only have to lose 1 to make it into the top 8 for the final.
Yeah, going well in the early stage is Katoshvili and Meneses in lanes 2 and 3. And that centre lane, lane 5, is Jealous. He's shown us great promise in the backstroke, in the relays, and in the 200-meter individual medley earlier in the week. And he's looking strong here, the Spaniard. He'll go into the wall in first position. He turns 32.58 from Katoshvili, 33.68, and Serbin, the Paralympic and world champion, gets his feet to the wall third, just ahead of Meneses. But it is Jealous in the shot at the moment. He leads through 75 meters.
Yeah, Jealous going really well. He's just hugging that lane rope. Remember, these swimmers have no vision at all. And Jealous going really well. Meneses coming through in lane number 2. There's 5 swimmers all in a row here, but Jealous is going to take the touch. Albert Jealous takes it in 106.97. Paralympic champion Serbin, 110.01, just 1/100th ahead of Kratokvil. Meneses is only 1/100th behind them. Chufarov in 5th position. Lee in 6th, Nandal in 7th, and Zverblis will take the final spot in that final. The Lithuanian just ahead of Huadongdong. Only 0.2 in it between those last 2.
Well, it's all very tight again from 2nd to 6th, which potentially means we're in for a tight contest for all the medals. But Albert Jealous, he does top the world rankings this year, and he's come in and he's swum on that 106 mark. Got a bit of time left in the tank, but he has looked good all week on this backstroke, and it's good that he's out of weight all week for this event, but he's still looking strong.
He almost took 2 taps there. I think they may have even almost missed the first tap there, looked like. But blacked out goggles being checked. Didn't seem to affect the finish at all of Albert Jealous. Mikhailo Serbin in 2nd position. The Ukrainian, he's impressed us over the years. He's only 21 years of age. Seems to be around forever, Mikhailo Serbin. But he always seems to be there or thereabouts, doesn't he?
Yeah, he always manages to pull something out of the bag, doesn't he? And winning it. And this 100 backstroke has really become his event in recent years. But remember, in Dublin, he was so young back in 2018 at the European Championships. But again, such great pedigree in the Ukrainian visually impaired team that he had people there, Viktor Smirnov, showing him the ropes.
Absolutely. Albert Jellis, though, will take that heat. Michaela Serbin in second. Look at how close it was. 1:10.01 for Serbin, 1:10.02 for Kratochvil, 1:10.03 for Meneses. It is going to be a great final. Zaverblis will be there, the final swimmer to make it in. And Viktor Smirnov was one we always said that he was the one that always got on the right end of finishes, and I think Serbin's taken on that mantle, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
S2 on the freestyle, S5. And we will see the world record holder, Francesco Bocciardo, in the second heat. Well, the first heat, we'll see Masabi from Canada there in lane number 1. Zayed Khalil from Egypt, the African record holder, here go in lane number 2. Wu Jin Cheng from China. What a week he is having, one of the real superstars of world para swimming. 3 gold medals already to the name of the Chinese swimmer, just warming up here for this 200 freestyle. Kirill Pulver goes in lane number 4, his fastest entry time. Kirill Pulver from the neutral para athletes. The entry time is from the Paris Paralympic Games where he took silver medal. Anthony Ponce-Bertrand, he's had a couple of good swims this week. Great swim in the breaststroke, just missing out on the gold, the Spaniard yesterday. But he has been World Championship silver medalist 3 times behind Bocciardo. Puerta Poza, the second Spaniard, goes in 6, and Ayan Changapum from Thailand goes in 7.
Well, as expected, is Guo Chin-Chen that gets off to the start. That strong leg kick that we've seen serve him so well in the sprint events, propelling him down this first 50 meters. He's got a body length lead at the moment, but expect the swimmers in the center to come back at him. It's a long way when you're propelling yourself with just your legs, those quads that are so powerful on the sprint events. The lactic acid does build up pretty quickly, and we can see he's now flipped onto his back for this second 50. He did go into the wall first, but it was Pulver that turned first, 35.32 ahead of 36.22 for Guo, with Ponce-Bertrand, who is in excellent form as well here, third after 50 meters.
Yeah, Ponce-Bertrand now, and Pulver just hitting them as they come into the halfway. Don't often see Guo Jin-Chen go over the 200 meters distance. I mean, we see him in the individual medley race, but it's normally the 50 and the 100 freestyle for Guo. But he's got a big program this week, hasn't he?
Yes, and he'll be back in the water later on for the 100 meters breaststroke SB6 event 2. So he is using this meet to swim as many events as he can. Kirill Pulver at the front of the field, looking comfortable at the moment. Ponce-Bertrand has had a busy back end of these World Championships as well. He swam exceptionally well in the 100 meters breaststroke last night. He was pleased with that to take silver medal.
Yeah, he's had some good swims as Ponce-Bertrand in the last couple of days, but Pulver looking pretty strong. 22-year-old, silver medalist last year in Paris. We saw him in the European Championships as well earlier last year. Silver medal behind Bocciardo, who's really dominated this event, the Italian, but Pulver has been the one who has proved the biggest challenge to Bocciardo in recent years, and he will touch the wall at 2:30.35, so not bad at all for Kirill Pulver. Ponce-Bertrand will be in next. I think it will be Huerta Poza touching the wall now, the second of the Spaniards. 2:46.48 for Huerta Poza, and Guo Jin-Chen is into the wall now, 2:52.33. Is that going to be good enough? Potentially, it might be good enough, but 4th place, as we've seen in the heats previously today, it's always a bit of a risk, Liz.
It is. We talk about that nervous weight, because it can come down to the finest margin. You can see the dive, though, of Gore gets him off well, but it is better suited to those sprint events when you're up and into the swimming on the distance events, that it does become more about the stroke. And it is difficult to kick for that 200 meters at the same kind of pace as the athletes who propel themselves with their arms. Pulver looked good.
Pulver stretching away now. At the end, it's a decent time for him, 2:30.35 for Kirill Pulver. The swimmers exiting the water. Well, there's the result. Kirill Pulver ahead of the 2 Spaniards, Go Jin Cheng in 4th position. Khalil, the Egyptian, 2:57 for him, so just outside his African record, Egyptian. But Go has been, you know, a real superstar. He came into the World Championships 2023 as almost an unknown quantity, Liz, wasn't he? But some of the techniques that he has, some of these photographs that we see of him and the videos of that, almost that bow wave at the front of his head, absolutely superb technician, isn't he?
Yeah, and he'll be watching. Well, he'll probably make his way to the swim down pool because he's got to go again in that breaststroke in not so long. But he'll be keeping an eye, and his team will be keeping an eye on this second heat to see where those timings come in. A few fast swimmers in the centre, a few informed swimmers as well, so it could go either way. But we've seen people sneak in that 8th position by the smallest of margins.
Yeah, well, maybe, you know, he has another event later on, maybe he's conserving energy, but again, as we've seen, some of the swimmers conserve energy in the heats, don't make it to the finals. It's always a risk. Anyway, finalists, or not the finalists even.
Getting ahead of yourself there.
Entrants, shall we say, let's call them. Participants for heat number 2. What are we going to call them?
Whatever you want.
Exactly, but not
Swimmers.
finalists, not just yet.
Not just yet, let's not...
Podgorski from Poland, 19-year-old, making his way in from the side. He will go in lane number 1. Kutlu from Turkey will go in lane number 2. We have Noam Kataf from Israel. The 18-year-old will go in lane number 3. Bocciardo, the Italian who's dominated this event in recent years, he'll go in lane number 4. Komarov, the experienced Ukrainian, he will go in lane number 5. The younger of the 2 Ukrainians is Olnik, another teenager who won a great silver medal in the 50 freestyle at the beginning of this World Championships. And so Zulkifli, the Malaysian, completes the lineup closest to us in lane number 7. He has a good record at the major championships as well. He's taken a medal at the World Championships previously, Zulkifli.
Well, in the early stages, Artem Olink in lane 6 for Ukraine got off to a good start. He's been a great competitor this week. The Ukrainians, we talked about the strength of the Ukrainians in the visually impaired categories when we talk about Mikhail Serbin and Viktor Smirnov, but again, in this S5 category, Alexander Komarov going in 5 has been a brilliant servant to the squad, and he can be a great role model for the youngster Olink. But in the early stages, it is Kutlu that turned first, 36.65, who's up there in lane number 2. Watch for Bocciardo though, obviously going through that 75-metre mark now. This really has been his event in recent years.
Yeah, Bocciardo has taken the last 2 Paralympic titles in Tokyo and in Paris, and the last 3 world titles have belonged to the Italian. And in almost all of them, with the exception of Paris, he's been ahead of Anthony Pons Bertrand of Spain, but it was Pulver who took the silver medal in Paris last year. But Bocciado, we talked about the Italian team and such strength they had in depth, and Bocciado was one of the very first to kind of make the breakthrough in this Italian team. He's made his debut back in the European Championships in 2011 in Berlin, and he's been a fixture of this team ever since, and a real standard bearer for the Italians, and he's been super successful over the years. I don't think there's been a championship since the very early days when he hasn't failed to medal.
He's also, he's super consistent as well with the times that he pumps out year on year. And really, there was a time where he was competitive in those short sprint distances, but we've seen this classification group change over there. As we talked about Gore in the last heat and how he's really moved on the 50 freestyle, the shorter distances. But Bocciado looking great here.
Bocciado is concentrated on these longer distance events. This is the longest distance that the S5 swimmers will go over, and he is into the wall in 2:33.16. He's followed home by Katab, the 18-year-old from Israel. The bowling will get into the third position there. So the two 18-year-olds coming in together with Kutlu in fourth position in 2:47.53. So good swim there from Bocciado, not quite as fast as Pulver from that first heat, but Bocciado will have much more to give in the final.
Yeah, again, we've seen some competitive clashes in the races over the course of the last, well, I'd say 5.25 days is where we're at now, isn't it? 5 days of finals. And this one...
We're nearly at 5.5.
Well, yeah, we are. But let's go with 5 final days. But Bocciado, this is the one he's been waiting for. We've seen him in the water a couple of times this week, but he's been one of those athletes that's been waiting patiently for the opportunity to take on his main event.
Yeah, I mean, it's the swimmers at the end of the programme here. They've had to wait a long time, keep that concentration going. Bocciado will get into the final, and it will be Pulver who leads the way. Again, it's very close qualification. Should be a good contest between the two at the top of the field, and the chance for others to challenge those two favourites as they get into that final tonight. But two favourites making their way through quite comfortably there from the heats. Could be a fast one tonight. Men's 200 freestyle, S3. Just making their way out to the side. In fact, still waiting for the other swimmers to take themselves away from the pool deck. They'll come in and go out of the same entrance. There's the lineup for this 200 freestyle heat number 1. 7 swimmers in this one, 7 swimmers in the second. Again, we saw yesterday in this S3 classification how really tight it was for qualification. We had the swimmer who swam the fastest time in the year, top of the world rankings, over in lane 1 in the final. We had the Paralympic champion in lane number 8. It's a different distance, different freestyle distance this time, but still the same Paralympic champion, and that's Umut Unlu. Turkey swimmer, he goes in lane number 4, the fastest seed. Line up for this one: Lorenas Albaya from Chile in lane number 1, Marigliano from Italy in 2, Josiah Top, who's having a fantastic week there, the German, goes in lane number 3. Unlu will go in lane number 4, the Turkey swimmer, just on the left of your screen there. Palamarchuk from Ukraine will go in 5. He took a medal in the backstroke earlier on this week. Krzysztof Lechniak from Poland in 6, and Marco Tanamasan from the Philippines in lane number 7, closest to us.
Well, this is another busy event. Seems there's a lot of entrants. Could be close for making the finals.
Yeah, we saw Unlu last year, like a couple of, well, surprise victories almost in the Paris Paralympic Games. He took gold in the 50 freestyle, he took gold in this one in the 200 freestyle.
He hit his peak, didn't he? Right on cue for those Paralympic Games.
And he will go in lane number 4. Josiah Top with that red cap on the blocks of Germany. And what a week that he is, having 2 gold medals already to his name. We saw him win the 50 yesterday. We saw him win the individual medley. We saw him get a silver in the backstroke. And look at the start for the German. Great start for him. But again, his impairment's different to the others in this field, so he's always going to get away quickly at the start, and the others will peg him back as we go through this 200.
Much like we talked about with War in the S5 equivalent of this, the impairments do play out very differently over the course of the entire swimming event program. So Top, he's carried on his great form that he had in those Paris Paralympic Games, much like Unlo, both athletes hitting a top spot. But he's brought that form into these championships, the German. But he's got to make the most of these starts and the turns and his advantage off the wall, because he does know that he will be chased down over the course of the swimming element of the race. And already now we can see Palamarchuk and Unlo have caught up that early lead up top. Like I said, to be expected as they approach the 75-meter mark. Again, different strokes from Unlu and Palamarchuk. The long arms of Palamarchuk move at a much slower stroke rate. So it can be, like, if they go into a wall like this, it can all come down to that final touch, but they will obviously have another 100 meters to go.
You see the 3 different impairments there in this S3 classification. Of course, it's all about the function in the water. All these swimmers will have gone through their classification assessment, placed in this S3 classification. And you can see that high turnover of Umut Unlu from Turkey. Didn't really feature in the 50 freestyle yesterday. He made it into that final, but he was some way down the field in the final. But this 200, he's looking pretty good at. It's the best I've seen him this week, I think.
Yeah, he seems to have found his form on this 200, but again, when we're talking about the different profiles of the athletes, Unlu, because of the length of his limbs, it means he hasn't got that luxury of slowing his stroke rate down too much, because actually it would change his whole body position in the water, whereas Top could up that leg kick in the final should he make it, and he can use more of a distance off the wall. It just puts more pressure on his lungs. But Unlu turns 2:35.15. He's looking strong here. He's repping quicker 50s than everyone else in the field. Palamarchuk over second, and it is still Top in that 3rd position.
Yeah, it is, and the German is ahead of the swimmer from the Philippines. Tianamasan Lechniak is in 4th position for Poland. Those two are having a little bit of a tussle there, and that position for 4th again might be vital when they come to hand out the places in the final. Morigliano is lying in 6th place, the Italian Lorenzo Albea in 7th, as Unlu makes his way into the wall. He is going to win this one comfortably in the end. It'll all get a little bit stretched out in the second half of that one, and Unlu is in 3:29.73. So well done to Umut Unlu. Just about a second shy of his best time this year. In for second, Palamarchuk 3:37 for him, and Josiah Top eases in 3:46. Decent enough time for Josiah Top, but Unlu will take that top spot there from that first heat. 4th place was Krzysztof Lechniak, who did get ahead of Tianamasan from the Philippines in the end. So Lechniak 3:55.74. He will have, again, a wait to see how the second heat goes. Morigliano finishes in 4:07, and Lorenzo Albea from Chile into the wall right now, finishing in 4:26.31, faster than his entry time, 4:27 for the Chilean. But there is the leader, fastest qualifier as it stands with one heat to come.
Yeah, comfortable heat swim there for Unlu. The question will be, how many more gears does he have left? Swam really well, like we said, in Paris last year.
Yeah, I mean, almost a surprise victory. It really came back, posted some great times in the 50 freestyle and the 200 freestyle. And Unlu will take that one, 3:29.73. That result is confirmed. Palamarchuk in second and Top in third place in that first heat. Christoph Lechniak, 3:55.74. Is that going to be good enough for the final? Well, we're about to find out in about 3.5 minutes' time. Second heat is on its way. Already out behind the blocks. Gabriele Lorenzo, who has swum really well this week, the young Italian swimmer, the 19-year-old. He goes in lane number 4. There's Grant Patterson from Australia, who goes in 7. 14-year-old Isaiah Sono from Peru will go in lane number 2. Line up there, Kai Street from Thailand in 1. Sono, the Peruvian, in 2. Lopez Diaz, world champion back in 2019, the Mexican, in 3. Gabriel Lorenzo, lane number 4 for the 19-year-old Italian. Denis Ostapchenko, champion from 2023. He will go for Ukraine in lane number 5. Vincenzo Boni from Italy, World Championship silver medalist last time. He goes in 6. And we saw Grant Patterson from Australia. He goes down at the bottom of your picture in lane number 7. Okay, most of the swimmers starting in the water. Lane number 4, Lorenzo, just been held at the start by his coach.
Yeah, Kai Rougi went from the block up the top, and now he's up and into his back. We can see a range of strokes here. Ostapchenko, who won the backstroke earlier in the week, swims on his back in these freestyle events. He's got a great stroke. The Ukrainian in lane number 5, but Lorenzo has been a great addition to this Italian team, and he might go well over the longer distance because he showed real promise towards the end of the sprints earlier in the week, finishing very strongly, and he's going well here in the early stages, just about overhauling that early lead of Ostapchenko. The 2 swimmers in those yellow lanes leading this one out. 48.91 from Ostapchenko, 49.13 for Lorenzo, with the experienced Lopez Diaz 50.03 after 50.
And we talked about Lorenzo yesterday, Liz, didn't we, when he just about caught Josiah Top in that 50 freestyle yesterday, but just missed out on the medal. And you were saying on the medal podium, he just looked absolutely gutted to miss out on that top spot. And he's a young man, only 19 years of age, making his major championship debut. But, you know, that's a great attitude, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you've got to allow yourself to enjoy your success. And it was an incredible swim. But I think last night in the finals, we saw so many close finishes that there were some athletes that were overjoyed by the performance, but devastated to just miss out by the smallest of margins. But again, if you have that attitude at such a young age, then you know that you're going to go in. It's going to be the motivation to drive you on to better things. But I hope he does allow himself to enjoy that success, because it was incredible, and he's going well again here. He's got similar stroke, so we saw Unlu in that first heat, that high rotation from the shoulders with the shorter levers, driven by the core, going very well. Ostapchenko with those, his arms are long, but he doesn't have the reach because he doesn't have the rotation, you can see, but he does use them very effectively to scoop the water. And we've talked about the pacing of the athletes in some of these lower classification groups, and Ostapchenko again, he typically goes a similar time in the heat to the finals. So it's usually a good indication of the form that he's in. He's so good around that wall, that pivot. Almost he uses his coccyx bone as his pivot, and he doesn't waste any time. He minimises the resistance, and he's going well here. But now Lorenzo looks to be trying to get back on level terms. He doesn't need to. It is a heat swim. There's a lot to play for in this final, but great swim from these two athletes. And Ostapchenko always looks so comfortable.
He does. Great, again, display here of S3 swimming. Lopez Diaz, I think, is just holding on to third place, somewhere down the field with Boney in fourth. But these leading two are coming into the closing stages now. Ostapchenko and Lorenzo. Ostapchenko is going to take this one. Let's have a check of the time there for Ostapchenko. 3:23 for him, so 6 seconds faster than the first heat that we saw from Unlo. Lorenzo comes in 3:25, so that will be the top two times into that final. And coming in now is Lopez Diaz, world champion from 2019, bronze medalist last time in Manchester. 3:44 for him, so he will be safely into that final. In fourth position, it was Vincenzo Boni, and the 14-year-old Peruvian in fifth place, as Grant Patterson completes the distance here down in lane number 7. With Kaisri from Thailand will be the final swimmer to finish. And Kaisri still with a little half a length to go as we see the replay.
Yeah, this is the replay of the start. There's Diego Lopez Diaz, who always gets away well, the experienced Mexican athlete. But it was Ostapchenko and Lorenzo. Lorenzo's the quickest in the world this year. He's got a significant amount of time that he could potentially drop into that final. And I think, again, that's what we say when we see some of these youngsters disappointed when they don't win. We've seen it with Iona Winifred before. Great Britain. She's only 14. She'll do her best time and she'll be disappointed with where she finished. So, but again, that's just because they put so much pressure on themselves and expectation. As we just see in venue now, Kai Wuzri coming in for Thailand. He finished in a time of 4:56.41. But the winner of that heat was Denis Ostapchenko. There is the youngster Lorenzo, who I'm sure will bring some more speed to that final tonight, and it's going to be a very exciting race. Those results should be in very soon.
Should be. Kaisri just finishing there, as I said, 4:56 for Kaisri. There's the finalists. Ostapchenko will lead the way ahead of Lorenzo. They were in that second heat. Unlu and Palamarchuk from the first heat will be there. Just ahead top as well for Germany. Will be in that final in the outside lane. Lopez Diaz will be there, Boni will be there, and the 14-year-old Peruvian will also complete the lineup for that final. Some big names in that one, and some youngsters as well in the mix.
Well, that's always a strong combination, isn't it, for a competitive final?
And here's the women's 100 meters backstroke. 5 swimmers in the first heat of this women's 100 backstroke S9. Maria Marquez Soto from Spain, member of that Spanish gold medal winning team yesterday. A couple of world championship titles to her name, Maria Marquez Soto. Line up for this one: Alexandra Ochtera from Poland, into Emma Micic from Croatia, who won a silver medal in the 400 yesterday. Maria Marquez Soto from Spain, 3 times a Paralympic silver medalist in this event. Mary Jeb, the winner of the individual medley in this classification a few days ago. And Johanna Fruchter from Denmark in lane number 6. Maria Marquez Soto in that centre, Spanish swimmer. Very similar impairment to Emma Micic, 1 lane up. Mary Jeb from Canada might get away with the best start. Fruchter also with a good start right down at the bottom.
It was the 2 bottom lanes that got away. Well, Mary Jeb swimming with a lot of confidence. She had an excellent swim to take that victory in the 200 meters individual medley, new America's record. But Marcus Soto, backstroke is one of her very, very strong strokes. Shepo, world champion back in 2017 and 2022. 3 times a Paralympic silver medalist. And she goes out here 34.3 to Jib's 36.01 with Mičić 36.17. Marcus Soto swam the backstroke on the relay last night. She looked smooth. She's back in here this morning. And she put it in a strong heat performance.
Yeah, and she's looking good. I mean, this is the event that she really made her name in when she burst onto the scene. Naraya Marquez Soto, first World Championships back in 2015 as a real youngster. She's only 26 years of age now, and she has been right at the top of this S9 classification for the last decade. She gets in 110.97. Mary Jib in second in 113.07 and 114. Emma Mičić in third, but 110.97, that's a cracking time for Naraya Marquez Soto in the heats.
She looks pretty happy with it as well. I think she was asking her coach where it just came from. I think it's always a nice feeling when you feel like you've gone easily and relaxed and you see a positive time. The worst is the opposite, when you've worked really hard and you look at the time, you're like, that does not reflect what I just did. But that bodes well. She went 110 last night in that relay as well. So she knows she's in good form.
And quite a lot of the time, the relaxation is the key, isn't it, to swimming a good time? If you tense up, sometimes see, there we go. What happened there? 110.
Take it, take it.
110.97 leads the way from Heat 1. Mary Jib with a decent time in second, as Emma Mičić in third place. Heat number 2 coming up. Victoria Bianco for Italy. In line 2, Liu Ying from China goes in line 3. Mariana Ribeiro, fastest time in the world this year. She goes in line number 4. Beatriz Larida Maldonado, well, European silver medalist. She won a gold medal last night in the relay. She swam in the heats for the Spanish team, who took gold in the final. Then Kliakina, neutral para athlete, goes in 6, and Emma Maeda from Japan completes the lineup in lane number 7.
Well, Liu and Ribeiro getting away well. Ribeiro was a bronze medalist behind Marcus Soto in both the last World Championships and the Paralympic Games, but she does come in, as you say, with the fastest time on paper, and she's the fastest in the world this year, the only swimmer to dip under that 110 mark. Looking good here into the turn. 33.75 to lose 34.47 with Larida Maldonado 35.03.
And she is coming away, Ribeiro now, silver medalist already this week in 100 freestyle. I'd love to make it a 100 double, 100 freestyle and 100 back. And she is just heading Liu Ying, who was a Paralympic finalist last year. She finished in 7th place in that Paralympic final, the Chinese swimmer. Larado Maldonado is coming in as well in lane number 5, but Ribeiro will ease into the wall. 111.37. Good time from Liu Ying, 112.57, and that is inside her own Asian record by half a second. So a new Asian record for Liu Ying of China. Beatriz Larida Maldonado, 113.20 for the Spanish swimmer. That'll be good enough for the final. And Kliakina should be in there as well, 114.65.
Well, it was comfortable qualification there for Ribeiro. Like we said, Liu, a bit like Naraya Marquez Soto in that first heat. Swim when you're swimming well, you're swimming with confidence, and you're swimming relaxed, you actually go quick. And it's another record that we've seen in the heats. We've been blessed to see a number of records over the course of this week, regional and world. And Chinese athlete there delivering for us.
Absolutely. Naraya Marquez Soto will go into the final with that excellent heat swim, 110.97. Mariana Ribeiro close behind in second. An Asian record for Liu from China in lane number 3. Mary Jibb will be there. The second Spanish swimmer, Laredo Maldonado, Micic, Clearkina, and Octera will make it into that final. Oh, we're getting close to the end of our programme this morning. There's just half a dozen more races to come. 100 backstroke for the S9 classification now. So again, 6 in this first heat and 6 in the second. They have to go down, as always, to the top 8 swimmers for this final. Again, should be some people at the front of this field list that's going to be comfortable qualification, but to make it into the final, you can't hang about too much.
No, if you want to be safe and not have that nervous.
Jendi Hungarian from Indonesia goes in lane number 2, the Asian champion. Barry McClements from Ireland, he goes in lane number 3. Yar Shalkano, the Paralympic champion last year from Paris, will go in lane number 4. Timothy Hodge, who's been on great form this week, the winner of the individual medley World Championship, bronze medalist last time, the Australian, in lane 5. Second Australian in this one is Harrison Vig. He goes in lane number 6 next to his teammate Tommaso Vosa. The 18-year-old Italian in lane number 7.
They're all off pretty much together. Barry McLennan's getting a good start for Ireland up in lane number 3. He's going well through 25 metres, as is Shalkano, 1 lane closer to us. Hodge is having a good week here for Australia. Bronze medalist last night in that relay. Very tight tussle with Spain and Great Britain. He swam the breaststroke leg on that one. He turns second here, half a second behind Shalkano's 30.25, with McClements 30.98 for third at the turn.
Shalkano's had a good record in the major championships. Silver medalist in Tokyo Paralympic Games, silver medalist in the Europeans, and also that gold medal, of course, in Paris last year. Fantastic performance from Yahar Shalkano, and he comes in now into the wall to touch in at 101.76. Second position is the Australian Timothy Hodge, 103.68. That should be good enough for the final for those top 2. McClements, Hungarian, both in the 105 range. That should be good enough, but we shall have to see. There's some fast swimmers in this second heat. But a good swim from the Paralympic champion, out ahead there at the front of the field.
He looked very strong in that second half. So often, like, the sprinters can go out, or if it's not your main event, you can put in a good 50, but generally the quality is told in the latter half of the race. When you are the Paralympic champion, generally you've got the advantage of not having to go all out in the heats, but we have seen some Paralympic champions, like you said, either be locked out of podiums or in outside lanes for finals.
Oh, you have a disqualification, unfortunately. Is the Indonesian swimmer, the Asian champion, Hungarian, disqualified. We have top 3 though, Shalkano, Hodge and McClements. McClements on 105.76. That's a time to remember for this second heat. Divisa dos Santos Almeida. Didier, the European champion, Paralympic and world silver medalist. Moscovoy, Paralympic Games bronze medalist, goes in 5. Kusnowski, Poland in 6. The 18-year-old trying to make it to another final here in Singapore. And Brendan Hall, well, what a record he has over the years. Again on the medal podium last night in the 400 freestyle, his signature event. Brendan Hall back in the water again here for another tilt at this 100 backstroke.
Yeah, and it's very much his number one now, that 400 freestyle, but he did win this back in 2015, but it is at the front of the field. Didier of France, that Paralympic and World Championship silver medalist, who's the fastest qualifier, but someone who's getting quicker and quicker every time they swim is Dos Santos Almeida of Brazil, the youngster. He goes over just behind Didier, 30.62 to 31.08 with Moscovoy 31.34 at the turn. It's a lot tighter in this one than we saw in the first heat. And Moscovoy now right up there with Didier, but Didier intends to finish quickly.
Yeah, Didier took this title. It was almost his breakthrough on the international stage back in 2017 at the World Championships, and he is right alongside Moscovoy here as they come into the wall. Didier will get the touch in 103.35. It's a comfortable swim there from Hugo Didier, but he will take that one. He will be in second place behind Shelkanov into that final. Well, Didier will take it ahead of Moscovoy. In third place was Dos Santos Almeida. Again, another great swim from the Brazilian. Sam de Visser was in fourth there in 105.64, and that'll be good enough for a place in the final, Liz.
Yeah, that final is going to be a bit of a free-for-all, as we've seen in a number of these S9 events. That 400 freestyle last night was a game of cat and mouse all the way. And Didier will want to make sure that he is in the mix tonight. He's put in a great time there to get himself a good lane for the final.
He'll be in lane 5 in that final behind Yar Shelkanov, who will take the middle lane, lane 4. Moscovoy will be there, Hodge, Dos Santos Almeida, De Visser, McClements, Krzyzanowski. It's all very tight indeed. Big names there, Liz, but a couple of good teenagers in the mix as well.
Yeah, Shelkanov looked strong, didn't he? But ultimately, like I said, it's very close. There's lots of potential for time to be dropped. And it'll be a question of who can hold their nerve.
The 100 freestyle S10, the one and only Heat 10 swimmers in this one. The Paralympic champion in the middle lane, Emmeline Pierre. I say there's 10 swimmers in there. That's only 9 swimmers in that one because we don't have lane number 2.
Yeah, Lisa Kruger of the Netherlands, medically withdrawn from this, picked up a bit of illness throughout the week. She swam excellently at the start of the week.
There's Kieran. It's Kieran Williams fan club for the Great Britain team. He'll go in the next event, the men's 100 freestyle S10, which will be the final, or one of the final actions of this event. It's the penultimate event with one more breaststroke to come after that one. But the women's one heat of the S10 100 freestyle. Again, some familiar names in this one. But Emmeline Pierre, well, I don't think she could ever replicate what she did in Paris. It was such a good final. I think there was about 6 swimmers just came into the wall together almost, and Emmeline Pierre was the one that got to the wall first to claim that Paralympic title in Paris.
Well, we were talking about surprise faces at the end of races, and Emmeline, no, there was none more so than Emmeline Pierre. It did. That was a pure race, wasn't it?
It was absolutely incredible. That Paris final in the 100 freestyle. I wonder if we're going to be in for something again tonight. Well, qualification firstly. Just one swimmer to drop, so don't expect any spectacular times here, but you never know. We have seen Daphne Kurt from Turkey swim some great time. She goes in lane 8. Full lineup: Sidorenko, Wilson, Scott Keeney, Pierre, Rogers, Barrera, Zapata, Hunsiger, Kurt, and Jaworska.
Well, Kurt once away again. Well, we've quickly become accustomed to that fast start of the swimmer from Turkey. Down in lane 8, she's leading the way at the moment. She's got gate sprint. Going well at the top is Sidorenko, the neutral paralathlete, right up there in lane 0. And it is the 2 outside lanes, along with Ariana Hunziker, that are going well in the early stages. Though Pierre gets her feet to the wall to split it all up. 28.18 for Kurt, ahead of 29.86 for Pierre, with Hunziker 29.89. Just 4/100ths of Rogers in Britain. So it's all closing up, but there's only one leader in this one.
And it is Daphne Kurt from Turkey in lane number 8. She swam well again. Simmers in the middle are side by side there, Rogers and Pierre, but it is going to be Kurt into the wall now. A championship record, 59.11, ahead of that record set by Aurélie Rivard of Canada. Great swim, 59.11. Emmeline Pierre in second, 101.48, 101.58 for Faye Rogers. Barrera Zapata in fourth position for Colombia. But, well, Daphne Kurt, 3 gold medals already at these championships, and looking good for another one if that heat's anything to go by.
Yeah, she's having a great debut World Championships here. You mentioned Aurélie Rivard of Canada. She's the world record holder, and she's sitting these championships out to finish off her studies. But she'll be watching, and it's a great racing in prospect when she returns to international waters.
It certainly is. It's great racing in prospect for tonight as well. Daphne Kurt from Turkey, a championship record in qualification. Emmeline Pierre, the Paralympic champion, will be there. Rogers, Barrera Zapata, Hunsinger, Skotakini and Wilson. Oh, great swim there. Championship record for Daphne Kurt. Again, newcomer to para swimming, Liz, but she's really announced herself on the world stage. 3 gold medals. Is it going to be a 4th tonight? She's going to be tough to beat. Here's the S10 men. Salim Garib, neutral para athlete, into Colin Boyd, the American, who swam so well this week. 2 silver medals already for the American, goes in lane number 3. Rowan Crothers, who had an incredibly quick time to win the 50 freestyle earlier in the week, the Australian. Igor Nimchenko, well, he's been consistent, hasn't he? Silver medalist in the butterfly, bronze medalist in the IM and the 100 freestyle. Jack Gill from Canada, who's made it to a few finals this week. And Rowan Brennan, who had that great swim in the anchor leg for Great Britain in that relay. Almost pulled them up into the gold medal position, just missing out by 15/100ths of a second in the end to Spain.
Take your marks.
Well, again, so the outside lanes won't be able to hang around too much in these heats this morning because it's competitive to make the final. But going well, as you would expect, in the centre lanes. The speed of merchants that are World Championship gold medalists, defending champion Rowan Crothers and Igor Nimchenko of the Ukraine. It's Crothers that goes over first, 24.68 to Nimchenko's 25.5. Jacques Gill of Canada, 25.95. Boyd tends to finish strongly for the United States, but it's all about Crothers, who's looking very comfortable at the front of this field.
Very comfortable indeed. In fact, he's only a 1/10 of a second outside world record pace, Rowan Crothers, at the halfway point, easing back now. And Nimchenko coming back, but Rowan Crothers into the wall in 52.47. That was a really quick first 50 from the Australian. Nimchenko in second, 53.30, and Jack Gill might be on his way to another final, the Canadian. He finishes in 54.05. Good swim from him. Salim Garib in 4th place. Colin Boyd will finish in 5th, and Rowan Brennan in 6th. So 55.54 for Salim Garib. But what about that start for Rowan Crothers? Bang on world record pace.
Well, he's been flirting with the world records in these sprint freestyles. It's only 6/100ths off of the world record, his best time. So, and he looked great. There was a section in the middle of the second 50 where he did then increase his turnover again. So I think there's a lot more to come tonight.
Well, we'll see. Rowan Crothers will be in the final. 52.47. Nimchenko 53.3. And Jack Gill 54.0. Good position to make that final. Stefano Raimondi from Italy will be in the centre lane of this next heat. Salman Gejad from Iran in 1. Fernando Liu, Canada, in 2. Alexander Tuckfield, Australia, in 3. Raimondi, Paralympic champion, in 4. Thomas Gallagher, Australia, who's had a good week, he goes in 5. Ogrzalik in 6. And Kieran Williams from Great Britain in lane number 7.
Well, once again, Raimondi finds himself in the centre of 2 gold caps of Australia. Tommy Gallagher going well down this first half of the race. He is closest to us of the Australians. And he'll go into the wall first. He gets his feet to the wall first, 25.63, just 0.2 ahead of Tuckfield, with Fernando Liu of Canada up in 2, getting the 3rd place touch. Watch for Raimondi as they come through into the final 25 metres, but it's Gallagher that leads the way.
Gallagher had a very good 50 freestyle, took silver behind Crothers, but here is Raimondi easing into 2nd. Gallagher will take it. Is it going to be Raimondi in 2nd? Only just 53.56 for the Italian. Tuckfield 53.64 and Fernando Liu 54.69. Might mean that there are 2 Canadians in that final tonight.
Well, it was a great heat swim. Again, they'd seen the first heat, so the experienced athletes in the centre knew what they needed to do to make the final. The sprinters, the out-and-out sprinters, really, Tommy Gallagher there and Rowan Crothers, as we saw in the first heat. Raimondi is an all-rounder, he's given himself another final. His son is at home watching. Saw a picture actually, been watching the iPad, screaming at the iPad with Julia Terzi watching on too. So Raimondi's given Eduardo something else to look forward to tonight, but he won't have it all his own way.
Ron Crothers looking very good from the heats. He will qualify in 1st. Nemchenko, Gallagher, Raimondi, Tuckfield will be there. There will be 2 Canadians in that final, and Alan Ogrzalik will complete the lineup for Poland. Again, fast swimming expected in that final tonight. But, you know, you never know. We might get close to that world record in that S10 classification. It might be very tight indeed. Here's the lineup for the one and only heat of the SB6 men. 3 Colombians in this heat, 2 Chinese swimmers as well, 2 from the USA, 2 from Mexico, and 1 from Great Britain. So 100 breaststroke SB6. Okay, we're right in the almost the middle of the classification range, the physical impairment range.
A lot of athletes with similar profiles in this one. There is Morgan Ray. The United States is probably his best event. Again, some of these athletes having to wait right till the end of the meet to get their chance. We did see him in the relays, the 20-point relays for the United States of America at the start of the week.
I did, and I've seen most of these swimmers do other events, but as you said, Liz, they're waiting for this big chance now in the breaststroke. Brendan Acosta goes in 0. Guo Jing Cheng back in the water again in 1. Jesus Gutierrez Bermudez in 2. Morgan Ray in 3. Nelson Crispin, the world record holder, in 4. Yang Ong in 5. Bruce T in 6 for Great Britain. Shattuck, USA in 7. Leon Prada, Colombia in 8. And Raul Gutierrez Bermudez in the outside lane in lane number 9.
Well, going well right at the bottom of the pool. It is Raul Gutierrez Bermudez down this first 50. He had a great first 35 metres.
I think it was Leon Prada, I think, down to in there in lane number 8, just 1 lane up from the bottom. With Morgan Ray in 2nd, just in the middle of the pool. Nelson Crispin now trying to pull through.
Well, Leon Prada has had brilliant starts in all of the events this week. We've talked about how strong the Colombians are in this classification group. We see the domestic rivalry now as Crispin Corso starts to cut through, but still very much in this. It's Leon Prada. He's at the front of the field. He will be out of everyone's sight down here in lane 8.
And the world record holder now coming through right in the centre here, Nelson Crispin, and he will lead home his teammates. Colombia 1 and 2, I think. Oh, in fact, no. Gutierrez Bermudez just getting in ahead of Nelson Crispin, and Leon Prada, sorry, but Nelson Crispin takes it. 121.28. Gutierrez Bermudez Jesus will in second place. Leon Prada, another good swim from the young man. Yang Hong in fourth place. Morgan Ray, Bruce D, David Rendon Acosta, Jiu Jing Chen, and Zach Shattuck, with Raul Gutierrez Bermudez right down at the bottom, the one to miss out. But again, how close is this going to be in the final? Crispin looked good in the second half of that one. He's not going to have it all his own way, and his young teammate, Leon Prada, what a great start that he had, first to the wall.
Yeah, he's had brilliant, like we said, in all of the events this week, Leon Prada's got off the block very well, and then in some of them he's just faded, or the more experienced athletes have come through right at the end, but this is going to be close tonight.
It's very close in the heats, but it's Colombia with 3 swimmers in that final, 2 from China, 1 Mexican, and 1 from USA as well will make it in. Zach Shattuck just missing out in 9th position there for the USA. But Guo Jingcheng, Chinese swimmer, will be in the outside lane. Well, that's the end of the heats, Liz. There's the schedule for the finals tonight. 5:30 local time. 17:30 we will be back for the women's 400 freestyle S13. We'll start off with those 400 events. We have the 200 IMs, the 50 events in the middle of the session. 200 freestyles will be exciting as well. The host nation will be holding their breath for Yip to see if she can claim that first gold medal at the championships for the Singaporean host team. And we will finish with the very exciting relays. Medley relay S14 and the freestyle relay for 49 points. Should be a good night, Liz.
Yeah, it will be great. I think Rowan Crothers looked dangerous in that S10 100 metres freestyle, and that last heat there has set us up for a great encounter tonight in the breaststroke.
Well, let's hope we have some exciting finals tonight. I'm sure we will, and let's hope the host nation can get another medal tonight. Yip goes tonight for the host nation, and we will all be holding our breath to see if she can get another medal. It's going to be an exciting one. Please join us, 17:30 local time here in Singapore. But for now, we will say goodbye from myself, Paul Noble, and Liz Johnson.